change the way we sell, where instead of me telling people they should buy my stuff, if I can create a process and an environment and a language pattern that gets them to have this idea of, man, I should buy Russell's stuff. If I can cause that inception in somebody's mind, it's 1,000 times more powerful. Okay? People, they hate to be sold to, but they love to buy stuff. Okay? You have to understand that. So I don't want to sell them stuff, but I want to cause inception in their mind so that they are going to want to buy what I have to sell. Does that make sense, you guys? I know it's kind of woo-woo at this point, but I'll dig deeper to some of the concepts because there's a lot of stuff you can do, and I wish we could spend a week on this right now, but this will give you guys some gold nuggets at least. So first thing to understand, you guys, is the attention span of a human being in the 1980s was 20 minutes. Okay? It's 20 minutes. You think about like what interruptions you had. Okay, once a day the mailman showed up. Maybe once or twice a week someone would come knock on your door. The phone would ring maybe 2 or 3 times a week, maybe once a day, maybe twice a day if you were popular. And that was the distractions that people had, right? What happens today? Today it's a little bit different, right? Every 3 seconds we're looking at our cell phones, our Facebook, our text messages, our Twitter, our emails. Like people are jumping from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing. And literally in 20-minute period of time, you've probably checked 80 different things. Okay, they did a study recently, and the average person right now, today in our world, guess how long their attention span is? Any guesses in the comments? I would assume maybe 2 or 3 minutes. That's kind of what I was thinking when I was reading this article about this. The average attention span of a human being today in today's world is exactly 9 seconds. Okay? Now, when you understand that, this is one of the keys to this whole inception stuff I'm talking about. Most people, when you start learning sales and marketing, at least when I did, I started studying from some of the greats, right? The people who have been teaching marketing for 100 years. And there are some amazing people that are taught marketing, some amazing books. And you'll hear all the famous marketers. They're like, hey, you should go read Claude Hopkins and Gene Schwartz and all these people's names. And you should. Their stuff is awesome. But you have to understand that they were selling in a time when the average attention span was 20 minutes. Today, we're selling to a world where the average attention span is 9 seconds. And if you don't understand that, you don't understand the changes that have happened in our world today, you're going to get run over from people like me who understand that. Okay, and so because of that, we do everything different now. We have to create our offers differently. We communicate our messages differently. All this edutainment stuff I'm talking about, like attractive character, excitement, storytelling, fun, that stuff is necessary today because if you are bored, you're gone. Okay, people today don't watch the presidential debates, the most important thing in the world. Why? Because it's boring. They want to go watch something on YouTube that's going to capture their attention and keep it for 5 seconds. Okay, that's the world we're in right now. And if you're not capturing someone's attention in that tiny period of time you've lost them. Okay, and so it's key. Now, there's a lot of different elements to this whole inception stuff, but one of the key parts of it, this is from a book from Blair Warren. I've never met this guy, but I really want to. This is a Kindle book you can get for like $3. It's called the 1-Sentence Persuasion course, and it's 27 words to make the world do your bidding. And when I read this, I was just like, that dude gets it. He understands it perfectly. So this is the 1-Sentence Persuasion course. It says, people will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them to throw rocks at their enemies. Okay, there's a lot of power in that. Okay, look at the emails that you send out or that I send out. Look at the sales videos, the sales letters, the webinars, all those type of things, and see if you're hitting on these things. Okay, people will do anything for those who encourage their dreams. Are you encouraging your audience's dreams? Number 2 is justify their failures. Are you justifying their failures? Okay, yeah, you need to be. It's not your fault. It's the big bad gurus. It's the food industry. It's whatever's keeping them back. Okay, allay their fears. Confirm their suspicions, and help them to throw rocks at their enemies. So every time I'm writing copy or creating a webinar or whatever, I always look at this and like, how can I weave these things into my communication? This is one of the big core parts about inception. Okay. All right, here's the graph that goes with inception secrets. So the top there is kind of that the 1-Sentence Persuasion guide, right? Encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and throw rocks at their enemies. Now, when I'm creating any kind of sales message, the first thing I'm looking at is every single person has like this primary question. okay, when it comes to your business. Now, I first learned this from Tony Robbins, and he shared a concept in his Date with Destiny program that he called the primary question. He said that every single human has a primary question that's always going on in their head over and over and over again, and it drives every single choice you make in life. Some people's primary question is, how can I do this better? Okay, and you know those people because every single situation they're in their life trying to figure out how to do it better. How can I run faster? How can I make this business grow? How can I do this? How can I do this? And they have this primary question that's driving every single one of their choices. Okay, other people's primary question is, why do I do everything wrong? Okay, that person drives their life and makes decisions a lot different, right? Oh, why do I do everything wrong? Why do I do everything wrong? Why am I so dumb? Why can't I, whatever that thing. So everyone's got this primary question. Now, we can go off on a whole tangent on that. I'm not going to, but I want you to understand that primary question is key, and it would be good for you to know your core audience, what their primary question is. But more specifically, when it relates to your product, what is, I believe this also happens at like a product or service level, that people have this primary question. And so 5 or 6 years ago, when we used to have a big, huge call center with 60 salespeople, and we were selling beginner internet marketers how to start a business online. And I remember one day I went down there, I was listening to all these phone calls, and with, like I said, 60 full-time sales guys. And I would say every probably 10 or 15 minutes, I would hear this question come up where people would say, hey, if Russell's stuff is so good, why don't you just give it to me for free and I'll pay him back from the money I make? I used to think, oh, that's dumb. Why would they say that? But they kept coming up and kept coming up and kept coming up over and over and over again. And one day I had this epiphany. I said, you know what? That's their primary question. That's my audience's primary question. So how do I address that? How do I help them understand that? And so I wrote a sales letter about that time for a product called DotComSecrets. And in that video, I addressed that primary question. I said, look, all the other gurus out there keep talking about how good their products are, and if they really are that good, then why don't they just give you that product for free? And then if you make money, then they'll take your money. Okay, and I brought that question up, and I said, it makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you guys? And the people that were listening were like, yes, of course. Like, that's what I've been thinking. That's the primary question that's been happening in my head. I said, look, I'm going to be different than other gurus, and I'm going to give it to you for free. You can come in here, try it out for 30 days for free. And if it works for you, you can pay me. If not, then if I can't make you money, I don't deserve your money. And we flipped it around like that, and I created my offer to match their primary question. And we literally went from 0 to 8,000 members in that membership site in a month, okay, because I hit the right primary question. Okay, so think about that with your audience. Like, what's the question they have? And if I can communicate that very, very quickly in the exact same words that they're saying it in, I can get them to move and do a lot of cool stuff. Okay, now the primary question leads to some kind of epiphany, right? The epiphany that I had, like I had this epiphany that boom, you needed this, you needed this change. And so I'm usually driving my primary question to some kind of epiphany. And I'll show this a lot deeper in the sales scripts, you guys, here in a minute. But just understand that the primary question is leading to some kind of epiphany, which then leads to a magic bullet. And that magic bullet is your offer, right? This is that thing you have that's going to solve all their problems. Okay, back in the day, we used to sell a lot more. It was like, here's my thing, and here's a million bullet points about why this thing is the greatest thing in the world. Okay, and about 6 months ago, I was working on a project, and we had a sales video that just wasn't converting, and we were selling a product, had 6 hours worth of event stuff, right? It was 2 3-day events, and it was all the videos, and it's like literally one of my favorite products I've ever created. And I was selling it, and in there I was sharing all, like, you get this and you get this, and I was trying to share all the stuff that they got because I wanted them to know every single thing that was possible in this program. And we launched it twice, and both times it did not convert, and I was just like so frustrated. I'm like, these people don't understand what's in here. This is like gold. And one night I had this aha. I said, what if I just find the best thing that I sell and just only focus on that one thing? Like, we cut out everything else and just focus on one thing, the one thing. And so I went through my entire 6 hours, and I found one thing that was the most interesting, and I rewrote the entire sales message just to focus on that one thing, the one magic bullet. And literally in the 6-day event, I probably talked about that one thing for 30 minutes, but that's all I talked about during my sales message is that one thing, the one thing, the one thing. I kept going on it. At the end, I'm like, oh yeah, and you get a bunch of other stuff as well, but this one thing is worth the price of admission and more. And by changing it to be this one thing, this one focus, one singular focus, conversions went through the roof. And so for most of you guys, like how can you take your offer and really boil it down to like, well, the one thing, what's the one thing that they really need? If you can identify that and make it a tangible, they can see it and be like, man, I need that thing, that one thing. It'll do magic. Okay. All right. Now, a couple other things. And again, I wish I had days to go into this, and I don't. I'm going to go into really quickly. One of them is copy speed. And typically, people always write. I wish I would have an example. I don't have an example here to show you guys right now, but typically people will write sales letters, and when they do, I mean, you've seen a sales letter. They're usually long, blocky, big paragraphs and things like that. And a while ago, we were doing some tests, and I was promoting some offers and testing them out, and there was this one offer that just converted better than anything I'd ever seen before or since. Like, it just did crazy stuff, and we promoted it. And I went back and looked at it later, and I realized it was written differently. It was written in this weird, like, high-paced, fast process. In fact, I wonder if I might have an example of it here. Some of my notes I was looking through today. Yeah, here it is. So I was looking at this offer, and I noticed that the way it was written was everything was very short sentences with dots afterwards, and there was never a sentence that was more than like one line. And I thought that's really interesting. And so I met the guy who wrote this way, and I tested some ads that he had written, and every single one was just the best converting ads I'd ever done. I thought this is interesting, so I wanted to kind of learn that style and to figure it out. So and that's why I call this copy speed, because this the way I write. It used to take me, I don't know, almost 2 weeks to write a sales letter. When I learned this process, I was able to write an entire sales letter in about 2 hours. It would normally take me 2 weeks, and they convert 10 times better. Okay, so this is an example of the DotComSecrets X intro. You can see how I written it. See, notice how short the sentences are. They're all like incomplete sentences that pull you from thing to thing to thing, and it's very fast to read, and it sucks you in. So I'm going to read it to you. It says, I've got a quick question for you. Have you ever wanted to work from home or own your own business? Come on, you know you want that lifestyle, the one that everyone talks about, where you can work from home in your underwear or on a beach with your laptop. So why hasn't it happened for you yet? Come on, admit it. This isn't the first time you've been looking for a proven way to make money, is it? When is it your turn? My guess is this. You saw someone online promising you riches untold, but there's a catch. Doesn't it seem like there's always a catch? You have to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars to get started, right? Before you make any money. Don't they know that's why you're here, because you need money? Doesn't it seem like that if all those gurus' courses and software work so good and they really believe in them, why don't they just give you their money-making system, and then after you've made money, then you'd get paid? Okay, you guys see that? So copy speed, very fast speed. And you see how I transitioned all the way to boom. What was this down here? Primary question. Do you guys catch that? There's a primary question that all of them have. Okay, so when you're writing copy, and again, these are more advanced tactics, but short lines, dots, and you're pulling somebody through a sales letter. Check this out. This is for our Overcome Pornography. We have a product that helps people with pornography addiction. Check out how the beginning of this one works. Again, same style, same copy speed. It happened again, didn't it? To you or to someone you love. I know your story. Every situation is different, but the results are usually the same. Let me know if this sounds familiar. It was around 11:30 at night and your spouse had just fallen asleep. You're tired, but something keeps nagging at you. You decide to get up just to check your email or maybe look on eBay or Craigslist for something you know you really don't want or need. Then a few minutes later, again, you have no idea. Oh, and then a few minutes later it happens. You have no idea how you got there, but you're there. You knew it would happen even though you won't admit it. You have a second of hesitation, but you know it's already too late. 1 hour turns into 2 and then 2 into 3. You know you're going to be tired tomorrow for work, but at this point you don't really care. You know the shame and the guilt you're going to feel and the look of pain in your eyes when you look at your loved ones, but it's already too late. For some of you, this is a story that happens often. For some of you, this just happened. That's why you're here, right? Okay, see how that video works? Sucks them in. Very short, fast copy. Notice there was only one sentence in here that was 2 lines. Everything else was like these little micro sentences. Okay, this is the way that we talk, you guys. Look at how you text your friends. Look at the way you write emails to your friends. That's how communication is going. Okay, and we talked about, you guys, you have literally 9 seconds to communicate with somebody. If you're writing out paragraphs of copy, you lost them. You need to communicate the exact same way you communicate with people right now. Communicate the way you do text. I mean, look at this. It looks like a bunch of text messages, right? That's how you got to communicate in your audience today. That's the copy speed. Okay, so copy speed is one thing. Trial closes is another. Trial closes are basically where I ask questions to get somebody to say yes. Okay, notice how many questions I asked in here. It happened again, didn't it? Okay, you're going to say yes. Let's see. That's why you're here, right? Trial close. A trial close is a question to get somebody to say yes. Okay, you notice I do these all the time. Okay, I got a question. Have you ever wanted to work from home? You said yes. Do you want to own your own business? Yes. Why hasn't it happened for you yet? When is it your turn? Anyway, I drop trial closes in all throughout. Here's the examples of trial closes we put in our webinars. Are you guys excited for this? Are you ready for the same change that's about to happen to you? I'm getting them to say yes, yes. If you guys had a chance to read the DotComSecrets Labs book, I talked about how we had an automated webinar that was averaging like $9.60 for every single person who registered. And I learned this concept about trial closes. And so I went back and I like literally, this is in my webinar, minute 05, I went back and I recorded these 3 trial closes and had my brother, who does my video, splice them in. Then at minute 21, I dropped these 3 trial closes, and then I dropped these ones, and I literally spliced those things into my presentation, just asking questions to get somebody to say yes in their head. And just by adding in those trial closes, we raised our earnings per attendee from $9.60 to like $14.60, something crazy like that. The exact numbers are in the DotComSecrets Labs book, along with all the trial closes in there, but it was crazy. Trial closes work awesome. And then desire amplifiers. There's a ton of desire amplifiers, you guys, things that just get people to desire your product more. And so when you're writing your copy and you're creating your things, these are just things to think about. Okay, again, Inception Secrets, there's there's dozens of different things that I could talk about that we don't have time today, but these are the core most important ones. Increasing the copy speed, dropping trial closes, focusing on a primary question, focusing on your magic bullet, focusing on one thing. What's the one core thing that you need to get somebody to understand to buy your product? Okay, I was talking to Perry Belcher, who's one of the best online salespeople of all time, and he was telling me that every time they have a video sales letter or something that is trying to get somebody to believe 2 concepts or 3 concepts, it fails. And so if they're trying to get them to believe one thing, just one core message, it always is a winner. So those are just some things to understand. Again, some more advanced tactics. There's a lot of hypnosis stuff. There's tons of cool things we could cover, but I just don't have time in the scope of this webinar. So hopefully that gets you guys a little bit excited about just some of the cool marketing ninja voodoo stuff you can add into your sales messages. All right, you guys, let's jump into section number 3. So the first section we talked about, if you remember, we talked about designing your dream business. The second one is getting your dream clients and then how to communicate to them through your attractive character. And now we're going to be focusing on Funnelology, which is the study of funnels, like these sales and marketing funnels. You probably heard people drop those terms before, but what are they? How do they work? And so I literally spent the last year or so just going through all the sales funnels we've ever done and really dissecting them and breaking them apart and seeing what worked and what didn't work and why they worked and how they all work. And from there, I really learned a lot of cool stuff, and I wanted to share with you because I think there are things that are going to be a ton of value for you. So that's what the Funnelology section is. The first thing we'll talk about are the 7 phases of a funnel. Okay, and I'm guessing that 4 or 5 of these phases you probably never even thought about, but it all ties back to what we talked about earlier with the value ladder. Like all these pieces tie in together. Okay, so the 7 phases of a funnel. This is where it kind of starts. All right, the left-hand side is phase number 1 is your traffic temperature. Okay, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more here in a minute, but traffic temperature. What I mean by that is actually I'm gonna show this other image because this will help me illustrate it better. We'll come back and cover this in a lot more detail in a minute, but this will help. So when you have any person who's going to come and potentially buy your product, they go through this little spectrum of awareness. Okay, in the bottom there's unaware, right? They have no idea they've got an issue. Okay, then they move up to a problem where they know they've got a problem, and then solution aware means they're a little more advanced. They know there's a problem. They're aware of different solutions. They're trying to pick which solution, right? Product aware means they're aware there's a problem. They know a bunch of solutions, and they know which product they want. Okay, and then most aware is like someone who could be teaching this stuff. This is probably where most of you guys are in your market, right? And so there's this spectrum, and people are coming at all sorts of different angles. Now, what's interesting in my business, most of the people that I know, especially in the internet marketing world, they're selling to people that are product aware, and so they're really good at converting. You probably heard this before, converting warm or hot traffic, right? It's very easy for them to convert, but they can't convert cold traffic. They can't figure out how to do it. And the reason why is because the way I speak to somebody who's warm, who's solution aware, who's just trying to pick a different solution is way different than the way I speak to somebody who's unaware or problem aware. Okay, so problem aware is, for example, let's say in the make money market. Okay, unaware means I have no idea that there's even a possibility to make money. I'm here, I'm happy, and life's hunky dory. That person's really hard to sell. Okay, but then somebody gets to the point where I got no money.